Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin. These men spoke up for what they thought was right. From their courage came such documents as the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. From their willingness to speak what was sometimes unpopular but right, we enjoy such liberties as freedom of speech, the right to keep and bear arms, and freedom of religion. There are those who still wish to oppress our freedoms, and there are still patriots willing to stand up and defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Men like Zeb Bell, who honor our founding fathers and what they stood for. It's now time for Zeb at the ranch, speaking up and defending your freedoms. Brought to you by Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and all of the other great advertisers on the program. And now, Zeb Bell.
The great American political journalist P.J. O'Rourke said this. Listen closely, because how true it is. At the core of liberalism is a spoiled child, miserable, as all spoiled children are, unsatisfied, demanding, ill-disciplined, despotic, and useless. Liberalism is a philosophy of sniveling brats. Amen. Here comes Kate Smith, and God Bless America, followed by a patriot to call in with our Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you and good morning. And a good morning to you and yours. Zeb at the Ranch on this Thursday, August 27th, and brought to you by our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations, serving you with a very safe, clean environment, and, of course, the best in tires. And, of course, our good friends at Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. Right now, let's go to the phone line and have our Pledge of Allegiance. Good morning.
Good morning, sir. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Doug. I know you're going to call back. I appreciate your help this morning. Thank you so much. Right now, let's go to the weather forecast and find out what it's going to be or what's going to go on. K&R Rental brings us the weather. Roger and the crew, of course, they get there early in the morning at 7 a.m. to better serve all the people that have got projects to finish. Construction projects, or maybe you need help with all the equipment for your lawn or your garden, whatever you're doing, please get a hold of them today. K&R Rental on the Burley-Paul Highway, and the number to call, 678-3122. Right now, here's Gina with the weather.
We're finally out of that air quality alert as the smoke is slowly starting to disappear. Here's what's your weather forecast for today. Going to be nice and clear as far as that air quality is concerned. Sunny skies. We are expecting a high of 83. A little bit of a breeze, not too bad. Tonight the winds could pick up just a little bit. Clear skies with a low of 53. Tomorrow, as we get ready for the weekend, sunny skies and 84 with an overnight low of 54. By Saturday, sunny and 86. 72 for Sunday, maybe 71 for Monday. That's a look at your weather for Zeb at the Ranch.
And right now outside my studio, 63 degrees. Weather brought to you by K&R Rental. And they've got rental tools and equipment. Remember this, a whole front yard full of equipment. And they've got it for both long and short-term rentals. So please, if you need help and you don't know what you need, give them a call first. Talk to them. 678-3122. 256 South, 600 West of Hayburn on the Burley-Paul Highway. K&R Rental. Really, really good people. Want to also give a great big shout-out this morning to Ramsey Heating and Electric. And, of course, they also get there early in the morning at 7:30 to 5, Monday through Friday. And they're located, easy to find, 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. And the number to call, 678-0459. Literally, and it's the truth, all your heating, cooling, and electrical needs, and years, almost 7 decades of experience in serving you. They are the best, and it's obvious why. They know what they're doing. Ramsey Heating and Electric in Burley at 678-0459. Don't forget where they provide warm winters and cool summers. I've had so many people call And I'm not going to take calls regarding this issue because it's very hard for me to talk about. So please bear with me. Many people have said, please tell everybody how your wife is doing. Well, she is not responding to the medications as we had hoped. And we're going to be getting an update sometime this morning. And I, of course, may even have to leave this program early. The program, I hate to say this, but I think you'll understand, means far, far less to me than staying on the air. And I know Sean and Gina and Scotty have been so gracious to me to help. But if something happens and I have to leave, you know why. But we will have updates, hopefully, of good news. But thank you for all your thoughts, your prayers, your cards, and your emails. Thank you very much. Want to remind you, too, about our friends at Dino Septic Service. And, of course, they are there to serve you with some of the jobs that naturally we don't want to do. That includes septic tank pumping and septic inspections, sewer and sink drain line cleaning, backhoe services, liquid waste removal. Oh, my. They've got all the septic tank and drain fields installed. They know what they're doing because they've got the best of equipment. Absolutely the best of equipment and the best of people. Fast, fair, friendly service. And the number to call, 436-6526 or 678-1638. Dino Septic Service. They are absolutely the best with that big truck that is Smells Cargo on the way. Thank you very much. Before we get rolling, we're going to have the governor on in about 15 minutes, and that's why I'm kind of catching up on some of these commercials and allotting time. I have a very short time this morning with the governor at 8:30. I'm not going to be taking any outside phone calls unless I have an opening, but I think you'll understand why. A very short window of only 15 minutes. Save on shelves with Anthony at 1827 Overland and Burley, and I'll tell you what, if you're looking for a camper shelf for your pickup, a certain style, a color, well, you don't have to look any further than Save on Shelves. Again, the number to call Anthony to make sure he's there and help you is 312-1525. 312-1525. Believe me, they've got the ARE shelves, lifetime warranty, quality service, and low prices. Anthony, great guy. Save on Shelves on Overland in Burley. You stop in and see him today. All right, calls are welcome and very much appreciated. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. As noted earlier, not only this week but last week, Lunch Bunch was tentative last week. This week it's absolutely not going to happen today at Denny's restaurant, and I certainly hope you understand why. And as God's will, we certainly hope that my lovely wife will get better and we can plan for a Lunch Bunch next month at Denny's restaurant, 611 North Overland in Burley. And they also have another location at 291 Pole Line Road in Twin Falls. You know that if you go in there for breakfast, lunch, dinner, or just a dessert, they've got a menu chock full of all the great, delicious items. And really, really nice people serving you at Denny's Restaurant. It's true. It's called America's Diner, and it is. Denny's Restaurant, 611 North Overland in Burley. You stop in and see those really good folks today. All right, a jingle on the landline would be appreciated. Night 3 of the Republican National Convention is in the books. I watched a substantial amount of it and was, of the volition and the thinking, it was extremely well done. Very tasteful. It created emotion. It created inspiration. And it created, and a lot of people are going to be offended by this, but I don't care. It created nationalism. There is nothing wrong with nationalism. Get the liberal thought out of your head that, oh, you're a nationalist. Yes, I am. And proud of it. This is the greatest country ever in the history of the world, bar none. And I'm proud to be a nationalist. I'm proud of this United States of America, and if you're not, that's your problem. not mine. Don't twist the words and denigrate the word nationalist into your liberal slop. I'm proud to be an American. And I saw all that last night at that convention. I hope and pray that Americans in the East or the West, the North or the South of this great country, realize that we cannot ever adopt social madness to this United States of America. We cannot, underline the word not, allow a absolute destitute of any morality ticket of Biden and Harris in the White House. My thoughts. Now give me yours. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Please give me a call. I want to remind you, too, about what's going on at the urgent cares around the area, and there are 3 that are serving you, and they're offering sports physicals for your athletes for only $10. And then, listen, the money's going to be donated right back to your school's athletic program. This is good through the month of August, so you better hurry. And the sports physicals were regularly $20, now just $10, and the urgent cares are serving you. No appointment necessary at Riverview Urgent Care on Overland and Burley, Twin Falls Urgent Care on Addison Avenue East, and Urgent Care of Jerome at 133 West Avenue A in Jerome. Remember, $10 sports physicals, and these folks are so great, so gracious, they're going to donate that money right back to your school's athletic program. The Urgent Cares. Stop in and see them today. At a time when I really do appreciate phone calls and talking to someone, I would really love to get a call right now. This morning it would mean more to me than anything else. Sophie's Chatterbox, I want to quickly say, too, that every Monday we give away a dozen cookies. And if you answer the trivia question, Sophie's Chatterbox, of course, is a delicious restaurant. And they've got a phenomenal bakery. They can bake up anything from fancy wedding cakes all the way to cookies, pies, all the muffins, everything. And then the restaurant, oh, you'll never leave hungry, let me tell you that. Sophie's Chatterbox, 530 East Street in Rupert. And Monday at 8:30, of course, is our trivia contest. I really am shocked and not really dismayed anymore, because I've lost all my respect for professional basketball, professional football, and professional baseball. Overpaid, underworked prima donnas that cry like little spoiled children, brats, if they don't get their way. Multi-millionaires that this country has afforded them on their athletic talent. Couldn't get it anywhere else. But now the NBA canceling playoff games, and it looks like the Major League Baseball is canceling their games. The WNBA, Women's National Basketball Association, canceling their games. And I'm sure that this might even project itself into the NFL. Why are they canceling the games? Because of the recent shooting of Jacob Blake in Kenosha, Wisconsin. They are walking off in protest of Jacob Blake. And the most theatrical leaving was Kenny Smith on ESPN NBA Tonight. Put his microphone down, took it off his tie, reached around behind him, pulled off the power pack for the mic, and walked off the set. I find this to be absolute nonsense and ridiculous. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Greg. I'm not up to much this morning. That's the reason why I'm late. But I do want to mention about Donald Trump. I remember him coming down the escalator, and I'm thinking, this guy is just going to be another showman, showing that he could run for president, he could do anything he wanted to. But the more I see of him, the more I thought he was authentic. And then when he started making all these promises that he was going to do if he were elected, they started coming true. And, you know, it makes tears in my eyes to think that people don't understand how important that was. Your word is your bond. That's what I was always taught. And I think that's what his is, too.
You know, let me just jump in here, Keith, and say that I agree with everything you said. And I'll go toe-to-toe with anybody that tells me that he has not had a disruptive 4 years. The Democrats absolutely did all in their power with impeachment and talking about Russia, and the scandals and everything, and nothing panned out. But they kept harassing this man for all 4 years, and he still maintained and still did a lot for the American public. And I just wonder many times when I'm sitting out in a lawn chair underneath the tree, how much he could have got done more if the Democrats would have left him alone.
Oh, it would have been wonderful. We'd be way farther ahead than we are. It's just, you know, when they said, the Democrats said, there is no such thing as miracles. Yes, there is.
Oh, and I'm praying for one.
For this nation is a miracle.
Absolutely. How are you feeling, old buddy? I hope you are getting better.
I'm not. I had another relapse last night. Couldn't sleep or anything.
Well,
I so do enjoy talking to you.
Well, I want you to know that our prayers are with you, and please get better. And if you get a chance, maybe call me later on this afternoon or something. We'll visit a little bit. Maybe we can kind of cry on each other's shoulder and make each other better. Thank you very much, Keith. God bless you.
You're the greatest.
Well, appreciate that.
Day.
Thank you very, very much. Oh, calls are welcome. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Yeah, the headline, if you get a chance, I want you to look at a picture that was in the sports section of the Times News this morning. And it's on the sports page. And I want you to look at this picture really, really close, if you would. And the picture says, for the caption, referees stand on an empty court before a scheduled playoff game was postponed Wednesday night between the Milwaukee Bucks and the Orlando Magic. Okay? And everybody walked off the court except the referees. But look over to the right side of that picture, and you're going to be seeing a white basketball player standing there by himself. There's nobody else around. One of the team players standing there with his hands behind his back, and it's the most forlorn-looking picture. Like, why did my team leave the floor? Why are we having to do this? And why can't we wait until all the facts are out? And that's the whole thing. The facts are not out about that shooting in Kenosha, Wisconsin. Not to any degree. And the more that they start looking at it, and the more that we understand who Jacob Blake was and what Jacob Blake was, the more there is cause for concern, again, that the media jumped in and said way too much, way too soon. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Got a big sale from the Bennett Boys Auction Service this Saturday at 11 o'clock over in Shoshone at 470 North, 375 West, north of Johnny's Country Store. Look for the signs, if you would. And, of course, it's the Jerome Fitzgerald Estate Sale. They're going to have all kinds of trailers and boats and sporting goods and recreation items, horse equipment. My goodness, they got an old U.S. Army saddlebag there, and shop tools, miscellaneous and collectibles, everything. Be at that sale at 11 o'clock this Saturday over in Shoshone. Bennett Boys Auction Service. No sale too big, no sale too small. The Bennett Boys, they sell them all. Caller, stand by. I'll be right with you, I promise. I want to remind everybody, too, about September 12th. Put that on your calendar. Circle it with red ink. You want to be up at the Zollinger Quarter Horse production sale. Absolutely. 32nd annual sale at the ranch up in Oakley. 1994 South, 100 east of Oakley. Preview at 10, sale at 11, and you're going to be seeing and buying the best of colts and fillies with minds that can think and do, talent, personality. These are great, great horses, and I'm going to have Jerry on the air, I think, this next week. Don't forget, September 12th, 32nd annual production sale at Zollinger Quarter Horse Ranch up in Oakley. Caller, quickly, I've got 3 minutes before a break.
Zeb, I've had the privilege of the last week of attending in 2 different areas PRCA rodeos. I never seen any of them take a knee. Rodeo is becoming very diverse. There's many different colors and nationalities. Everyone that I went to, they were so thankful and grateful to be there. They thanked the committees for having the rodeo, for giving them the opportunity to be there. And that is the sport that I choose to support.
Well, I'm going to tell you something. Let me just jump in here.
Everyone screwed themselves out of a job.
Yeah. Let me just jump in here, and I've said this for a lot longer than just through this coronavirus pandemic. I said a long time ago that the real patriots in any professional sport are the Cowboys. I've never, ever seen any of the Cowboys not take off their hats. I've never seen any of the Cowboys take a knee. I've never seen any of them disrespect our prayer beforehand and the national anthem. And I'll go toe-to-toe with anybody. I saw a circumstance one time at a rodeo back in the Midwest where the fans in one area that were fairly close to the buck and shoots were laughing, joking, and kind of pushing each other at the beginning of the national anthem. And then I saw about 4 or 5 bronc riders go over there and in those uncertain terms clean up their act.
Exactly. Last year at the Cache County Fair, we had a distinguished man come forth to sing the national anthem. And you know what pressure that is. And he slipped up. And you know, you're kind of like, and one of the coolest things was one of the bareback riders hollered out, "Let's help him out." And everyone started to sing. And it was
absolutely
really cool.
You know, I get pretty emotional about that because I don't care if it's Belle Fourche, I don't care if it's Dallas, Texas, I don't care if it's Clovis, California. I've been to all those rodeos and announced all those rodeos, and I'm doggone proud of the rural heritage of rodeo.
Me too, Zeb. Thank you, and God bless America.
Thank you very much for your call. God bless you. Thank you. Thank you. There's a nice lady right there. Real quick, I want to remind everybody about Barry Equipment and Rental, sales, service, and parts. And later on this morning, we're going to have Josh on the air, so don't forget about that. They've got 3 locations, Burley, Twin Falls, and Nampa. And we're going to talk entirely to Josh over there later on this morning about all the equipment rentals and the purchases that are available on all the equipment you need at Barry Equipment and Rental. That's coming up later on this morning. I'm going to ask my dear friend Sean if the governor is on the line and ready to go.
Not yet.
All right. Well, we're waiting for his call, and while we're waiting, we'll take another of your calls. And once again, I want to mention about this stoppage. LeBron James. You know my feelings about him as a athlete and as a person. I have not much respect for him, nor will I ever. LeBron James made a remark that is so incendiary and so absolutely ridiculous at this time when we're seeing racial tensions stretched like a rubber band and they're going to break. He comes out and said that we blacks are being hunted. Now, that's absolute irresponsibility. And I never did have any respect for the man, and now I've got even less. The detestability of saying we blacks are being hunted. Well, think about that remark. Here's a man that absolutely just barely got through high school, and with his athletic prowess went into the pros and signed million dollar contracts, probably one of the wealthiest people in the United States. and he's in condemnation of the United States, in condemnation of the Trump administration, and then comes out and says after this, without all the facts being in, we blacks are being hunted. What an asinine, stupid remark from a not very smart athlete. Calls welcome 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. There are so many of these athletes that are jumping in like politicians and saying things before they know all the facts.
We've got the governor on the line.
Sean, I appreciate your comment. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been on a fairly regular basis that we've entertained having the governor of the state of Idaho on our program to answer a lot of questions and talk about a lot of things. And at this time, we have Governor Brad Little. Good morning, Governor. How are you?
Good, Zeb. How are things at the ranch?
Well, that's another story for another time, but I certainly appreciate you coming on the air this morning. I want to start off, first of all, Governor, in the short time that we have this morning, the special session of the Congress. Why did we have to have that special session? What was needed to be done in August?
Well, and I said this way early, we changed how we did the May primary, and the time frame was so congested there. I reached out to the clerks of the Secretary of State and the legislature, but I didn't want to do it for the November election because there's laws that needed to be changed, and I didn't want to change those laws without the lawmaking branch in town. So that was number one, was how do we facilitate the maximum participation in the election in November. And the second one was what I heard from businesses, large and small, and schools about the unknown liability that exists out there from the COVID virus. This is different than a lot of other things because people don't know how they get it, and unfortunately there's a certain number of attorneys that and people that are litigious that like to sue on that, and I'm trying to get the economy to rebound. And what I heard over and over was kids going back to school and businesses opening back up. That was a barrier. So those are the two things that I asked them to come address, and they did.
Governor, I'm going to say this, and we've been friends and known each other for quite some time, and if you're offended by my statement, feel free to chew me out. I'm fed up with the coronavirus. I am fed up with the way that it's taken over our lives. I am fed up with the way that it dictates what we can and can't do. I am fed up with being mandated to do this, don't do that. I've got my wife in the hospital right now, and she's been in there for a week, and I can't even go up and see her because of this coronavirus. I think that we have treated this virus much more than what is necessary, and I think it's political to the nth degree. Now, what are your thoughts?
Well, it is political, but I don't think to the nth degree. But all over the world, in every state, everybody is having to cope with this. And the one thing that I am absolutely certain of is the no-action alternative would have been worse. There's all empirical evidence in the world about that no action, we would have had skyrocketing incidents, we'd have had skyrocketing death rates. The issue of not being able to go to the hospital, those aren't orders from the government. Those are practices by the hospital or the long-term care facilities. A lot of what's taking place in business aren't from the government. They're what businesses are deciding to do. And we've got, and the Magic Valley has got a significant amount of spread. We got it first. It came from the Sun Valley area, so it's kind of been on the pinnacle. Minidoka, Cassia, Twin Falls County, Jerome County have just had a high incidence rate. We didn't know enough about it early. and then we got it spread into our community, and it's terrible. I'm tired of it too. I'd love to have it go away. Nobody'd love to have it go away more than I would.
Yeah, but it's not going to go away, Governor. Let's lay the cards on the table face up. This is a virus, and it'll mutate to other forms and be with us for the rest of our natural lives, and we've got to learn to live with it, not run away from it.
But just like every other virus, the community gets an immunity to it at some point in time, but we haven't gotten to that point yet, whether it's a natural immunity from being exposed at low rates or a vaccine. And, of course, a vaccine is nothing more than accelerating immunity. But because this is, quote, the novel coronavirus, and we don't, it's the impact, the fact that it spreads, it spreads without people knowing it. All the other vaccine or viruses, most of them, you got deathly ill and you stayed home, and so there wasn't the spread. That's the difference between those viruses and this virus.
Governor, there's too little attention, in my opinion. You're one of 50 governors across the United States of America. And I dare say that I'm still not hearing hardly any stories at all about the Chinese, and it is and was from China. We don't know what they're doing. We don't know what effect this is going to have for future releases of viruses in China. I want to know how we're going to hold them accountable and also legislate or watch over them like a little child that this never happens again.
Well, I do know that there's some of that going on, and the person you need to talk to, because he's chairman of the Foreign Affairs Committee, is Senator Risch. Because, and believe me, besides being chairman of the Foreign Affairs Committee, he's on the Intelligence Committee. He can tell you something about this, but he can't tell you everything. But in my conversations with Senator Risch and with the administration, they are very concerned about it, about what happened and what's going to happen in the future.
What about going back to school? I mean, I see so much about this school's going to open, that school's not. This school's going to go on the internet, this school's going to be live in the classroom. What's going on?
Well, let me take you back to last March. I didn't close. The only school district I closed was the one in Blaine County, where they were out of hospital capacity. They were hauling people in ambulances to Twin Falls and then to Boise. That was the only school I closed. All the other schools were closed by your duly elected school boards that live in the communities where everybody else in Idaho. Today, the decisions are being made again by the school board. They're not being made by the state board. We're giving them guidance and direction and counsel, but they'll be made by your duly elected school board in conjunction with your health districts that are 90% of the people that administer the health districts are your duly elected county commissioners.
If you look down the road from your desk right now, what are you seeing? Stage 4, moving back to stage 3, optimism, negativism? What are you seeing right now on this virus?
Well, our numbers are coming down because of a lot of what's taken place. There's two things that we got going: is people are understand how the transmission, how it works, and the other thing are treatments and a vaccine. And the treatments are ramping up. You heard the president talk about convalescent plasma. I give blood all the time. And one of the benefits of going to the Red Cross is they tell you whether you have antibodies. I haven't been exposed yet, but convalescent plasma and the advancement of a vaccine, and really critical is new, affordable, accessible testing. So whether it's a school, whether it's a business, whether it's going to visit your loved one in a long-term care facility, if we have rapid, effective testing, a lot of these things will be a lot easier. And they're all coming on board, but not near fast enough for you and me.
I want to talk in the time remaining about voting in November. And again, I'm going to lay my cards on the table face up, Governor. I don't want to see any more input about mail-in balloting. I don't trust it. I'm scared of it. There's too many opportunities to have illegalities. What are your thoughts?
We don't have mail-in voting. We've had absentee voting for a long time, and I am 100%, well, there's always, but
when we have a contested election where it's real close and we do a recount, sometimes they're not off at all. Sometimes they might be off by 1 or 2 votes. That's our audit provision. We know that our voting system in Idaho works. Mail-in voting, even the states that have it, the state of Washington, our neighbors up there, they will tell you if you're going to implement mail-in voting, and they've got it in Utah, you need years to put the systems in place. I fully agree with the president that if you just said we're going to wave a wand and have mail-in voting, it would be a wreck. There's way too much opportunity for fraud. Our system of absentee voting is guaranteed by the integrity of your local county clerk, of the Secretary of State, of the laws of Idaho, of the systems we have in. We don't have mail-in voting in Idaho.
Is there anything else that you find very prominent that you would like to tell the listening audience this morning about the special session that was called, or anything else that's affecting our state of Idaho?
Well, of course, from what I said, what I see is the fact that we've got the best recovery of almost any state, actually. There's 1 or 2 states ahead of us, and Utah's one of them, that we went from having almost 12% unemployment, and today we're at 5%. People are going back to work. The economy's rebounding. We've still got some businesses that, because of what they do, are very negatively impacted, and I'm fully committed to try and help them. But if you think it's bad in Idaho, it's worse in 48 or 49 other states. Our recovery in Idaho is as robust and steep as almost it literally was that V-shaped slowdown where we went from the 3rd best state in the union down to 12% unemployment. We're back up to 5%, and I want to get us to another rate. And that's what matters, is the economic opportunity. If we get our numbers down, all the kids will be back in school, but we've got to get the numbers down so that we don't have widespread and overrun our hospital capacity like happened in the Magic Valley last March.
Yeah, I want to talk to you a little bit quickly in the 2 minutes left in this segment about liability. I'm sick and tired of hearing people say, or pointing the finger, well, I caught the coronavirus here and so I'm going to sue. How are we going to protect business owners and or events from that happening?
Well, it's tricky, like I said, because anybody can say they got it there, but being able to prove it. But before we even pass the bill that passed yesterday, our laws in Idaho are much different than they are in other states. For just Joe, the trial lawyer, to show up and convince somebody that they could make a quick buck by suing or even threatening to sue, that doesn't happen in Idaho because of our laws, because of our courts. It does some, but a lot less than other states. And the law that the legislature passed yesterday means that the hurdle rate to get into court, to threaten a business or threaten a school, threaten a teacher, threaten a school board member is a lot higher. And I fully agreed with them and suggested that they do it temporarily. This law is going to take effect when I sign it this morning, and when it takes effect when I sign it this morning, then next year they can look at it and see if we missed anything in it, and that's the right thing to do in an emergency.
Do you have, in the time remaining, Governor, any final thoughts you want to leave with my audience this morning?
No, I just want them to know that the economic prosperity and the safety of the people of Idaho is number one on my mind, on the legislator's mind. Believe me, I want this thing to go away. Nobody wants it to go away more than I do. I anticipated that I'd be going out to rodeos and parades and business openings and all those other things that we all love to do in Idaho, and being locked up, looking at numbers, trying to work with the healthcare industry, making sure that everybody has enough PPE. That was not my desire last March, and I want to get back to normal as soon as possible.
Governor Brad Little, I want to thank you for being on the program this morning. You've been very congenial about coming on the show. God bless, and thank you again. We'll have you back soon.
You bet. You bet. Thanks, Sam.
Thank you. Governor Brad Little and talking about the special session and the voting and back to schools. And your calls are welcome. Right now, I had a very tight time constraint there of 15 minutes maximum, and we got it all in. Thank you very much. Time for the weather, and then I'd like to hear your phone calls. Don't be timid. You normally aren't, so give me a call. Our sponsor of the weather, Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids, and they've moved to a larger space right there, basically, on the Minidoka Memorial Campus. You can't miss them. And they're right behind the Minidoka Memorial Hospital, across from the emergency room, and serving you with the best of hearing health. Please know that they are absolutely committed to helping you and hearing. 312-0957. That number again, 312-0957. Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. Right now, here's Gina with the weather.
We're finally out of that air quality alert as the smoke is slowly starting to disappear. Here's what's your weather forecast for today. Going to be nice and clear as far as that air quality is concerned. Sunny skies. We are expecting a high of 83. A little bit of a breeze, not too bad. Tonight the winds could pick up just a little bit. Clear skies with a low of 53. Tomorrow, as we get ready for the weekend, sunny skies and 84 with an overnight low of 54. By Saturday, sunny and 86, 72 for Sunday, maybe 71 for Monday. That's a look at your weather for Zebeth Rand.
And it's really true that hearing affects every aspect of your life, and you want to make sure that you have the best of hearing capabilities. And I urge you, if you notice a problem, you're having a little less hearing, and you're going, what? I couldn't hear you, pardon me? You'd better get a hold of them today at Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids for a hearing screening. The number to call, 312-0957. Again, 312-0957. Calls are welcome and very much appreciated. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Give me a jingle. I almost, literally, I try to channel surf as much as I can in the evening from various networks to their various news shows and some of their, using the term loosely, anchors. And I almost fell out of my chair when CNN's dingy, Don Lemon, said, oh, I think it's time. We better stop the violence. What? I was just taking a sip of Gatorade, and I almost spilled it all over me when he said, oh, I think it's about time. We better stop all this violence. Finally, these people, liberals, are seeing the problem. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Hi, Zeb. I certainly hope they do see the problem. And I wondered if our press was maybe jumping too quickly on that last shooting because we didn't know anything about it. You know, everybody jumps in and says, oh, this is horrible, and they don't have a clue as to what was going on.
You know, Linda, there's the whole key. You've summed it up. I mean, we don't have all the facts. What we do know, and I'm not saying anything out of school, this guy, Jacob, I can't remember his name all of a sudden. It just escaped me.
Flake, was it?
Yes, Jacob Flake was not really a really nice guy. He had been wanted, and he had committed sexual crimes, and he had a knife and a gun in his possession, supposedly and allegedly. And why are we always so quick to put the police on the burner and watch them burn without having all the facts?
Because these guys that are doing it are not doing it just for that. They are doing it to take power and tear down our country.
Well, when you look at what happened with this Jacob Blake shooting in my home state, actually about 40 miles from my home area in Kenosha, Wisconsin, it just makes me wonder, first of all, why in the world would the onus be thrown on the police immediately after all the things that had happened in the George Floyd case and other cases? These police are living in a fishbowl right now, Linda. You know that. Every move they make is being watched. So something, I believe, had to precipitate what happened.
Well, that's just it. let's give them a little benefit of the doubt until we find out what's going on.
That's it. That's the whole thing. Why are we so quick to come out with the hangman's noose and go after someone when we don't know all the facts? I'm sick of this.
Yep. That's the mentality that is so destructive.
Thank you.
And a lot of people are jumping into it. Now, thank you so much for having Governor Little on and doing all that you are doing.
Thank you, Linda.
You've got lots of prayers.
Thank you.
God bless you.
No, God bless you, too. Thank you. You're a very nice lady. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Yes, good morning, Zeb. The reason why CNN and the rest of these people are starting to see the light is because bad news brings listeners.
Yeah.
It makes a lot of money for these newspapers. And they finally figured out enough blood has been spilled, so they better start doing something about it.
Yeah.
This is what's behind it, money.
Yeah, it's kind of like a guy that starts painting a kitchen floor or whatever, and he's whistling and listening to the music, and then all of a sudden he realizes he painted himself into a corner. And that's where these people are.
Oh, yeah, good news. People, it's ho-hum. But when there's blood in the streets and all this burning going on, they know, hey, we're going to make a fortune selling newspapers and whatever else that brings money into their company.
Yeah.
And it's just greed.
You know, I was watching, Tony, I got to share this with you real quick. I don't know if you saw him on the Republican convention last night, but a man that I absolutely idolize as being one of the greatest football coaches of all time, Lou Holtz, former Notre Dame outstanding coach, and a great speaker, a very optimistic speaker. He said that the naysayers right now have absolutely no pride in the United States, and that's true.
Well, the sports people should be out on the streets, these football players and everything else, trying to calm things down.
Amen.
Rather than out on the field making millions and millions of dollars and just won't even stand for the flag.
Amen. Tony, I got another call quickly, but God bless you and Mary. Thank you so much.
Okay, bye.
Thank you, sir. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb.
Yes.
Just to add to your opening this morning about liberalism, I read this the other day. It says liberalism now is like cigarette. It's been marketed to us the same as a cigarette. Fashionable, sophisticated, is supposed to be liberating, but I think it needs a Surgeon General's warning, hazardous to your families and all your values you were taught as a child.
And that should be obvious to most people, but the reason it's not obvious to most people is because our educational systems across the United States are not teaching a pride in this United States.
Exactly. And Jason Whitlock was the man that said that.
Do you know who he is?
No, I don't know.
Well, I'll tell you who he is. He's a former football player in the NFL. He's a big man and now a sports writer that's well-read all over the country, and he's very, very conservative.
Yes. So anyway, I read that and I thought that fits right in with your open.
Well, for one, I can't take this anymore. I mean, this animosity against the United States. Like I said the first 5 minutes of my program, what I see at the RNC, the Convention for the Republicans, was emotional, inspirational, and national. And if somebody's affected or really put out of tune for me saying national or nationalism, that's their problem, not mine.
Well, if you have pride in something, that means, if you take pride in your nation, that means you're a nationalist.
Amen. Amen.
You take pride in your football team, that means you're for the team. But you notice the Democrats, what they had supposedly movie stars, people that make a living acting like someone else.
Yeah, and they got the IQ of a hockey puck.
And then, of the celebrities like LeBron,
LeBron James, a black man that is so stupid about what's been provided him here in the United States. Doug, I got to have you wrap it up. I got one more commercial, and I'm running late.
But anyway, yeah, that's who they promote, and RNC promotes people, real people. So anyway, everybody, let's do what we can for our senior centers. Let's go eat there, visit them, and you'll leave with a full tummy and a full heart, and we're praying for Deanna.
I appreciate that, Doug. Thank you very much.
God bless.
In the time remaining, I've got to tell everybody about our major sponsor, and I'm so appreciative of these folks. Of course, that's your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Don't forget, they have absolutely the best in tires. All the tires, all the tread design for all vehicles. That's not brag, that's a fact. And they've got people that understand every bit about the tires, and the best in brake service, front end alignment, shocks and struts, batteries, it's all there. And like I keep saying every day, you're going to be just absolutely astounded with the great service. They really care about your time. They care about getting you back on the road safely. Stop in and see them today. Any one of the 7 Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, James in Buell, Dan on Pole Line in Twin Falls, Lane in Rupert, Mike in Jerome, Dave on Blue Lakes in Twin, and the Twist family in Paul, and my buddy Trent on Overland in Burley. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Got to run to the news. I'll be back in 7. Have a great day. Oh, thank you very much, and welcome back. Hour number 2 on a Thursday, August 27th. Zeb at the Ranch, brought to you by our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7 locations serving you. Stop in and see them for the best of tires today. And don't forget, too, Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. Right now, I want to also remind you about some really, really good friends of ours, and that's, of course, Hanson Mortuary with Joel Heward, his family, and his staff at 710 6th Street in Rupert. Number to call, and you should have this number, 436-5636. When there is the passing of a loved one, you definitely need their assistance, absolutely, to provide you, the family, and everyone the absolute best possible support and comfort. And remember, always, with the highest ethical standards, with unquestioned integrity. I urge you to remember the name and the number again, Hanson Mortuary at 710 6th Street in Rupert with Joel Heward and his staff. And Joel also is serving you at Morrison Payne Funeral Home on East Main in Burley. We're going to have Penny Main on with us in just a moment, but first of all, I want to remind everybody, too, that Lunch Bunch is not, in case you did not hear me, is not going to happen today. We're going to have to wait a while. I got to make sure that my lovely bride is going to be fit and able to be with us again at Lunch Bunch at Denny's Restaurant, America's Diner at 611 North Overland in Burley, and, like I say, another location at 291 Pole Line Road in Twin Falls. Go in, sit down, they'll hand you the menu, and then you've got a real problem there because you're not going to be able to figure out, of all the delicious breakfasts and lunches and dinners and desserts, you've got a tough decision to make. It's all delicious. At Denny's Restaurant, America's Diner, 611 North Overland in Burley. You stop in and see them today. Right now, we're going to go to the phone line, and it's time for the Mini-Cassia Chamber of Commerce report with the CEO and President, Penny Main. Good morning, Penny.
Good morning, my friend. How are you?
Hanging in and hanging on.
Well, good for you. Good for you. We keep saying it's a great day to be in business in Mini-Cassia, and we do believe that. We had the opportunity to head over to the Cassia County Fair for 2 or 3 days last week, and hats off to them. They did a great job, and I think everybody really enjoyed themselves. And, it's a lot of work. We're all confronted with these new protocols and new ways of doing business, and I just give the Cassia Fair Board and their team a big hats off for pulling off a great fair and a great rodeo in spite of all those circumstances. So props to them. Another quick thing, too, I want to remind everybody, and I know you probably know this already, but the kidlets are back in school, and so, they're going to be bopping around, so let's make sure we're really careful, right? And watching out for those little kids as they're coming back and forth home from school. So,
yeah, I'm going to interrupt you right there, Penny, and I want to say something in addition to what you just said. I'm not going to mention the location. I'm not going to mention the school. But what is the matter with these drivers? And unfortunately, this was a younger driver that passed me in going into a school zone because I had slowed down to about 20 miles an hour. What is their thinking?
Well, obviously they're not. And that's pretty much the answer. I mean, I do see that a lot, and people just seem to be in a really big hurry, right? And I guess that's my point, is we've really, these kids are so excited to be back in school, and goodness gracious, as if we haven't been through enough the last 6 months.
Amen.
Let's
Amen.
watch out for them, you know, and bravo to the teachers as well, Zeb, right?
Absolutely.
Because they're having to deal with circumstances that never in a million years that they thought they'd have to deal with. And so let's give those folks a round of applause as well, and let's just keep our families and our kids and our teachers and all those good folks really safe as we get back in school. So,
Amen.
With regard to the drivers, I don't know. There just seems to be people in a big hurry, and I'm not sure where they're going exactly, but my mom used to say to me, "Are you going to a fire? Slow down."
Yeah, really.
It's just like, yeah, I don't know. Anyway, gee whiz, our scramble, our big golf scramble is just a week, actually, next Wednesday, September 2nd. Again, I want to thank Minidoka Memorial Hospital, PMT.Foods, Idahoan for stepping up to be sponsors. Also, great folks like Let's Ride, Intermountain Casual Regional, Young Automotive, Valley Office Systems, Solve, ISU Credit Union, Title I. Want to thank the good folks at Maury's Steakhouse and Piggy Sue Barbecue, BBSI, and so many other team sponsors we don't have time to mention here. But we're looking for a really great time next Wednesday, and we're hopeful that we can have fun and raise some money for the chamber and really have a really good chance to get together and see all of our friends. So just want to really thank everybody for that as well. The Friends of DeMary, again, as we talk every Thursday, you and me, all these folks we mentioned are members of the Chamber of Commerce, and we're so proud of that. The Friends of DeMary, their big book sale will take place Saturday, September 5th from 9 to 5. Their new location is just west of U.S. Bank in Rupert. They're also looking for some donations as well, but they run a great operation over there to support the DeMary Library in Rupert. Every Monday, and typically, again, on a Wednesday or Thursday, we send out what we call our Monday Motivator. It features all of these events and more, like the VFW Golf Scramble. It's coming up on the 19th. Minidoka County Historical Society, jobs available at American Staffing, so much more. A big event coming up at St. Nicholas, the 26th, which I'm proud and privileged to be a part of, to raise money for St. Nick's School. All of that information is placed in our Monday Motivator. It's an e-blast, an email news blast. It's not printed, but if you have an email address, let's get you on the list, and that will kind of keep you informed of everything from COVID updates, again, to things happening throughout the community. And as your counterpart, Sharon, always says, she says there's just no reason people should say there's nothing to do in Mini-Cassia, because there really is a lot to get involved in, and you can learn all about that in the Monday Motivator. So we'd love to have you part of the Chamber of Commerce. We feel we're the best network around, and we like to connect people, and that's what we try to do here, from business to business and business to community. We'd like you to be a part of it. You can call us, 208-679-4793. We'll be open typically Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. We'll be out all day, part of Tuesday of next week, and all day Wednesday due to our golf scramble, but typically Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, and you can sure check out our website as well at minicashiachamber.com.
Let me ask you, did you or did I miss it? Tri-City Sports, did you want to mention anything there?
Well, the 26th actually is the last date, and thank you for actually that was yesterday.
Yes, I'm a day
that
short.
Was the last day for people to get in their registrations and applications.
Okay.
I believe the number is 424-2400. I'm recalling my memory. But again, maybe if you call them today and are still interested in getting your kids involved in volleyball, football, flag football, or some soccer, again, Tri-City Sports, Hebron, Rupert, and Paul. You can stop by any of the city halls and pick up an application, but I do believe the deadline was yesterday. But it wouldn't hurt to call if you're still interested.
Penny, I appreciate everything you do over there at the Chamber. You have really done an outstanding job, and with all the accolades I can heap upon you, that does not make you escape from the trivia question. And you know what, though? This is one, because of your background, you should know easily, and I think you will. What was the slogan? What was the slogan for the Lawrence Welk Band?
The slogan?
Yep. It always appeared when they said, and now the Lawrence Welk Band, and then they had a slogan.
Oh, my gosh, Zeb. You have so much confidence in me. I don't know what the answer to that is, and I watched it every week.
The Champagne Music Makers.
Oh, geez, Louise. It's funny you should mention that. Somebody was talking about, having being forced to watch the Lawrence Welk show, right? When we were kids. And actually, I kind of missed the Lawrence Welk show. Times were much easier then, and the music was least understandable, right?
Amen. Boy, you said a mouthful right there. Absolutely.
Right. Anyway, so what's my score now? Things aren't looking good for me.
Your score is, you've managed to get 8 correct, but you have fallen down the mine shaft 12 times.
12 times?
Yeah.
So I'm down by 4, technically, to get me even.
Yeah. In other words, you're swimming to shore, but it's not working.
Yeah, you're right. I was never a really good swimmer anyway. This is part of the problem. So, okay, well, I'm okay with that. I will ask you this one huge big favor, though.
Yes.
For next Thursday.
Uh-huh.
And I want you to give this some thought.
Okay.
For next Thursday, I am just coming out of this huge, big golf scramble.
Okay.
Somebody's calling. So go easy on me next Thursday.
All right, I'll have a golf question.
Oh, I'm not great at golf.
Well, I'm not either. That makes us even.
Okay, well, I'll go for a golf question then, but that doesn't even make me feel very good right now, and that's a week away. So.
All right. Listen, I want to tell you, and I meant what I said a minute ago, you've done an outstanding job with the Mini-Cassia Chamber of Commerce, and God bless you, and we'll talk to you next Thursday.
Thank you, Zeb, and as I always mention, thank you to all you do for the Chamber of Commerce. You've just been a big help over the last year. I'm so grateful for your team there, and I always say we're only as good as the people who surround us, and I really, really sincerely mean that. Hats off to you as well. Thank you so much. You guys have a great week. Say hi to Deanne.
I will. Thank you so much. I've got a caller that's on the line, but I'm going to have to say to the caller, if it's, we'll give you 30 seconds, and then I've got to get into my next interview. Caller, quickly go.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, Deanne is in our thoughts and prayers, and we will be praying for her. And also wanted to let you and Chris Fox, I believe it is, know that Lawrence Welk is still on every Saturday.
That was Penny Main, but Rodney, I want to tell you how much I appreciate your comments. That meant a lot to me, and thank you. God bless you, my friend. Okay. Thanks. God bless.
I have a hard time keeping those ladies' names straight.
That's all right. That's all right, Rod. Thank you so much.
Yeah, anyway, just so you know, Lawrence Welk is still on every Saturday.
All right, thank you. Right now, ladies and gentlemen, we're running a little bit behind here, so we're going to quickly listen to an interview with Nick Greenwell and Sharon over at, I think, either Elite Fitness or Burley Physical Therapy. Go ahead, please. And maybe there's a little trouble with the tape or something. I'll check with Sean. And while...
Hey, it's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. It's good to be here with Nick. This is Sharon with Zev at the Ranch Radio. Nick is with Burley Physical Therapy and Elite Fitness. And just recently, I went through some surgery. They think they called it elective. I'll tell you what, for me, that was not elective. Anyway, and Nick, you were saying something about you're seeing more of that now that some of the restrictions are lifting?
We are, yeah. So, obviously there for a while, they really restricted what was being done in the operating room at most hospitals, of course, here in the Mini-Cassia area as well. And so we were seeing emergency things, right? If you got into a car wreck or something like that and you obviously needed to have something done, they were performing those. But what they consider elective surgeries, as Sharon rolls her eyes at me here, would be our total knee replacements and our rotator cuff repairs and those things that linger for a while, hips, you bet. And that maybe the farmers are like, we're going to do that in the fall because I got to get through the season or whatever. Being agricultural, we do see a lot of that. But since they've kind of opened those up again, and now we're seeing a huge influx from people that have kind of waited and then decided when the restriction was pulled that we better hurry and get this done because they might stop again, right?
Yeah.
And so we are seeing a pretty large influx of total hips and total knees and those kind of things. And we're rehabbing everybody up and down, side to side, and both here and over at Elite. I am seeing patients there on a limited basis right now, but we're getting ready to transition to adding more hours and more staff over there because I think it's a very appropriate environment for a lot of our patients.
Yeah, it was a real easy transition to go from here at physical therapy after we got the momentum or the movement back. And I was surprised how much my muscles had deteriorated in compensating for the injury, the problem that I had with the hip. But once we started getting some of that back, I felt like what we were doing here at physical therapy, it was good, but I felt like I needed more. And so that's when I asked you about Elite Fitness. And oh my gosh, has that been a great fit? I think that has been perfect to be able to transition to over there.
Absolutely. And don't get me wrong, it's still physical therapy when we transition over there because I am seeing patients there. But it's nice in that when we do start to perform treatments over there, picking up from where we left off here, when we get closer to discharge, you know exactly what to do. You're familiar with the equipment. You're familiar with the facility, the people over there, and so it's really nice to be able to just kind of step into that maintenance or long-term program. And the nice thing is, if you ever have any questions or concerns, I'm right there 2 or 3 days a week. I've got professional staff there, trainers, fitness instructors that can answer those questions, update your program, and just make sure that you're not going to do anything to hurt yourself.
Exactly. And I've noticed that when there's been a question about a particular piece of equipment that I've been curious about, I've asked you, and you've been really good to say, probably not for your hip, but some of those pieces of equipment, I guess, work better for different parts and different things.
They do. And a lot of it can be pretty intimidating in a gym, right?
Yes.
I mean, you walk in, there's all this equipment, and there's these big dudes walking around, and there's heavy weights everywhere, right?
All these Tom Sellecks in there, ladies, there's Tom Sellecks in there.
Yeah. You can tell her age when she says things like Tom Selleck instead of Brad Pitt or Channing Tatum, whatever his name is.
That's right.
Anyway, so yes, and so that's the nice part is we can walk you through and tell you more specifically what's appropriate for your orthopedic level or your fitness level or what's safe and what's not, and show you that they're really not as intimidating as they look, right? Most of the equipment there is very easy to use, very safe, and obviously that's why we have those certain types of equipment there. In the back room, we do have a lot of free weights, and those can get a little more complicated and dangerous if you don't know exactly what you're doing. And so again, before you do those, grab us. We're happy to take you back there and show you anytime. We do free consultations all the time with people at the gym, deciding whether or not they want to join and maybe what's appropriate after their back surgery, after their shoulder surgery, or maybe their kids, whatever. And so, again, it's just been a really, really nice thing for us to have that extension from our primary orthopedic office here. And again, as we're getting busier, we're starting to have a lot more patients come in that are more appropriate or very appropriate to move down to a more open environment like that, where we have more equipment and more available. And so we can really push you. And especially our younger, more athletic population, we go upstairs and it's just a giant open room, and literally we can throw baseballs. I've got a lady up there hitting tennis balls at me now. We're jumping and we're playing basketball and all kinds of things that we can't. I just don't have room for that over here at my other office, and so we can create a very functional environment, not only for kids getting ready for sports or rehabbing from injuries, but I've got several guys that got hurt at work, whether they got kicked by a cow or fell off a ladder or whatever it was. And so we can go upstairs over there and recreate the things that they do at work, whether it's lifting 100 pounds or pushing and pulling 150 pounds or opening trailer doors or going up and down ladders. I can set a ladder up and we can do those things over there and make sure that they're ready to go back to work and make sure that they don't get hurt on the second day back.
Exactly.
So it's very functional, and I am super, super happy that we have the privilege of having that facility and being able to open that up to our patients.
Yeah, and I'm amazed at all the different types of equipment that you've got. You can bring your friends and make it a group thing. You've got the downstairs that you can go down and exercise, the main floor, then there's a back room. You can go clear upstairs, and it's huge and open, and you can do all kinds of things up there. You've got classes where they sit on balls, and you've got classes where they ride bicycles, and my goodness.
We have every class under the sun. So my wife has made it her mission in life to make sure that we have the best and biggest variety of classes and probably the funnest classes. And so if you're looking for a unique experience of any fitness level, we have it. So you can jump online on our Facebook page and check out our schedule and the types of classes, or stop by. We're happy to give you a tour and show you exactly what we have to offer. We also have a daycare downstairs now that if you want to bring your kids and go to a spin class or work out for a couple hours, we have a daycare available for you. And so we feel nice that it's a full-service facility. And to be honest, there's less restrictions for folks that might have issues coming into a more closed environment like this, or maybe they have...
Only physical therapy, you do need to wear your mask.
We do.
If you possibly can.
Yeah, the CDC requirement now for health care, especially in this area, as we are having a lot of positive tests come back now, is that we have not only our staff but our patients wear a mask while they're in the facility. And so we do have some available here if you don't, but if you have one and it's more comfortable, please bring it. We are going to ask you to wear one while you're here for your treatment. However,
right,
I am Mr. Flexible, Sharon.
Yes, you are.
I am
Thank
Mr.
you very
Flexible,
much.
yes. And so for those few folks that really have, maybe it's really bad asthma or bad anxiety or whatever it is, and you just absolutely can't wear a mask, I got a couple of options for you. We do have some private treatment areas in here that we can come back in and we can work in those areas. We don't have access to some of the equipment and whatnot in these rooms, so realize that. But we're happy to do that for you if that's the case. However, at Elite, we don't have the same stringent requirements from the CDC in that environment, and so we're extra cautious, and we're spraying the daylights out of everything and wiping out every handle and every piece of equipment and every doorknob. But you don't actually have to wear masks. Again, a lot of people do because they're being cautious, which is great. And I wear one. My staff wears masks while we're over there.
But you have that choice.
You have that choice. And so we have had a few people that are just struggling with that. Both maybe you have a medical condition or something that disallows that. And so we're seeing them over there, and they're doing great.
That's awesome.
So anyway, that's our take on masks here. So if you come to Burley PT, we are going to ask you to wear a mask.
Okay. You mentioned you have a Facebook page. How do they find you on Facebook?
Elite Fitness or Elite Health Club, I think is what it's called on Facebook. And then we also have a new website coming out that's very interactive, Elite Fitness Burley.
Elite Fitness Burley.
Elite Fitness Burley is it. So you get on there and look. You can schedule appointments, make payments, see the fitness schedule, see the group fitness schedule, all that fun stuff. And that should be up in the next 2 weeks, I believe.
So do you have family activity classes? We are almost out of time, but I know I just asked a question. Do you have family things?
We have all kinds of stuff. And so a lot of places disallow kids from participating in certain activities at gyms for insurance reasons, right? So I have a very unique insurance policy that allows us that if the parent's in the class, the kid can take the class with them. They can't come by themselves. And so we have a lot of mother-daughter or father-sons or whole families that maybe come to a yoga class or come to a spin class or come to a Zumba class or something like that. And so, yeah, it's great.
All right. Nick, it's been great visiting with you. Appreciate it very much. And give us the phone number so they know how to get a hold of you.
You got it. Yep. Burley PT is 208-678-1191, and Elite Fitness is 208-678-2251. Give us a call. We're happy to help you out.
All right.
Great visiting with you. Bye.
Thanks.
Thank you very much, Nick and Sharon, on behalf of Elite Fitness and Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation. Thank you very much. Want to remind you, too, about our good friend Anthony over at Save on Shells. If you don't know where he is, I'll tell you. 1827 Overland and Burley. Look for all the camper shells. They're all over the place. I mean, the beautiful ARE shells, lifetime warranty, and he's got a camper shell that'll match your pickup. Please stop by today. Quality service, low price. prices. Anthony is the best. I've bought 2 camper shells over there. Does a great job. 312-1525. I'll repeat that number, 312-1525. Save on shells, the best, with Anthony at 1827 Overland in Burley. Real quick note, I'm running a little bit behind. I want to remind you about the Bennett Boys Auction Service having a great big sale this Saturday, the Jerome Fitzgerald Estate Sale over in Shoshone, 470 North, 375 West of Shoshone. Look for the signs. They'll get you right to the action. Great big sale with trailers, boats, sporting equipment, oldie goldies relics. They've got an old horse-drawn garden tiller. They've got all kinds of horse equipment. All of this and much, much more at the Jerome Fitzgerald Estate Sale this Saturday at 11 o'clock, managed by the Bennett Boys Auction Service. No sale too big, no sale too small. The Bennett Boys, they sell them all. I want to also quickly remind you about our friends at Let's Ride, 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World. Oh, my goodness, they've got hours of Monday through Friday 9 to 6, Saturdays 9 to 2. They've got all the side-by-sides, all the four-wheelers. They've got them all crammed into that huge showroom. Believe me, all the fun is right there on the showroom floor, along with all the accessories and a super service department to keep you running at Let's Ride. 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World, where the fun is sold. One more note before I run out of air. I want to remind you about Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert, right on the curve as you go into Rupert. Don't forget, Cameron and Siemens Insurance, very dedicated and responsive to your needs in regards to health insurance, life insurance, retirement planning, employee benefits. They are accessible and dedicated to serving you, and all you really need to do is pick up the phone and give them a call at 436-4424. Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. Ladies and gentlemen, our next guest is a gentleman that knows right up close and personal what kind of a man Joe Biden really is. He had a little confrontation with him, and I'm going to introduce him to you right now. Jerry Wayne, good morning, sir. How are you?
Hey, good morning. Thanks for having me on.
Jerry, give us a little history. I've got a little bit of an abbreviated time this morning. I'm running late. But give us a little history as to what happened with you and Mr. Joe Biden.
Well, I went to work one morning. They told me he was going to be there in a couple hours, so I spent some time articulating a question. I made it to the front of the row where he started to make his rounds. When he came up to me, I started to ask that question, and he wasn't really ready for the question I had asked about, how he's going to keep us working as well as protecting our firearms. And he kind of went off the deep end when I asked him that stuff. He didn't really have that cookie-cutter question, so I don't think he was really ready.
I saw this response from you and him. I saw it on a newscast. What was your thinking about Joe Biden when you asked the question in a very professional manner and a very polite manner? What was your thinking about this man as a possible presidential choice?
Well, before I had asked him that, I figured he was going to end up backtracking or something, but he really didn't. He really beat around the bush and kind of attacked me on it, but as far as me being personally right there with him, I didn't see that this is a man of stature that actually has a vision of the future. He's more of a guy that wants to come out here and just to pander to different demographics.
You, of course, like myself, and I'm going to ask Sean over at the station, I got a little bit of feedback on the line here, if you could correct that for me. We're gun owners and very concerned about the Second Amendment. What are your thoughts about what we're seeing with the erosion with the Democrats on not only the Second Amendment, but also the First Amendment?
Well, I see that it's all pretty much under attack right now. All of our freedoms are definitely in jeopardy right now. And the thing is that they're not even trying to beat around the bush with it. They're coming up front and forward and saying, this is what we're going to do. So this election comes down to tyranny against freedom. If you want your freedom, you need to vote a certain way. And if you don't want it, you got to vote the other way. And the thing is that we got to all start taking responsibility for our own actions and holding the representatives accountable.
Jerry, if I may be so rude to ask you, what age bracket are you in?
Oh, I am 31 years old.
Okay, so you're in the a lot younger than me. I'm 72. But what about others of your peers? I mean, what are their thoughts about this election? What are their thoughts about gun control? What are their thoughts about America in general right now?
Well, my peers, my age group, I think, is very, very split. But I tell you what, the people that I work amongst, the union workers of all skilled trades, millwrights, iron workers, electricians, pipe fitters, they're definitely seeing the light. And we work a lot, and we don't spend a lot of time. Look, a lot of us don't spend time, paying attention to politics because we work so much. But now everything's coming to light, and they're actually seeing that they're being manipulated. And it's to the point where I'm almost like a celebrity at work now because they feel as if I'm actually speaking up for them and what they actually believe in.
Jerry, what do you think? I mean, right now about the polls and about some of the negative reaction that goes on most of the networks against President Trump. What are your thoughts about this election, and how concerned are you?
Well, as far as the polls, I've never been given a poll. I never had to take one, and a lot of guys that I work with never had to take one either. So I don't know who is actually doing these polls, but I don't think that a broad spectrum of all the demographics are being accounted for. So I don't really look too far into those, but I do see that there is a very massive silent majority that loves America, and they want to stand up for America, and they're ready to do that come November.
Are your concerns, now that you're of celebrity status, are your concerns about the Democrats trying to manipulate with a mail-in ballot, trying to take control of the election in November? Are you scared of that?
Am I scared of that? No, I'm not really scared of much of anything because I think that's what they're using against us is fear. But I think that we need to be concerned, absolutely. And if we can actually understand what's going on and understand that we as an individual have an opportunity to make a difference, I don't think there's anything to be scared about. But we need to let our voices be heard and let them know that's not what we want to do, because there is some manipulation happening here for sure.
Give me your thoughts, Jerry, because you're about half my age, but you're really a sharp guy, and I appreciate you coming on. But give me your thoughts about a man that has lost a lot of his faculties. He's been in a basement for the last 5 or 6 months, not addressing questions, not talking to the press, and then he solicits for his vice president, Kamala Harris, who has a track record of not being favorable to the Second Amendment or any of our constitutional values. What are your thoughts about these people?
Well, that's actually propaganda 101. You know, what you're doing is you're working together with a lot of people throughout the country to actually make things bad. You're not standing up for the Constitution or people's rights. And what happens is that people want change. When things get bad, people want change. And then what you do is you keep yourself out of the limelight until you have a big audience, and you come out and you say a bunch of generic things. And then that's exactly what we saw in the DNC. Mr. Biden came out there and he started saying, hey, like, we had to take the darkness out with the light, and we had to do good things, and everybody wants hope. And all he's doing is he's leading in, that's propaganda. Propaganda is the art of actually being able to make a connection with the vast majority of people, and that's what he's doing. He's saying generic things. Of course, we all want hope, and we all want to this stuff to end, but he's not actually giving us a plan of how he's going to do that. He's just saying blanket statements. And people that go to work all day, and they have 5 minutes to actually check into politics, they hear this and they go, okay, things aren't good right now, and he's telling me things are going to get better, and then they're going to go ahead and vote for that guy. And that's very dangerous. We need to actually start doing our due diligence and figuring out what's actually being said. And I do believe the majority of America is waking up to this and doing their own research.
Let me ask you about that research, though, Jerry, because a lot of people cannot get cable, and they rely upon the ABCs, CBSs, and the NBCs to get supposedly their knowledge on the candidates and how to vote. Well, when you're working hard, maybe 8, 10, 12 hours a day trying to feed your family and pay the mortgage, a lot of people aren't getting the real honest information. What do you tell people about what they should do to get due diligence and understand what's going on?
Well, what I want them to do is, my advice to anybody out there that is actually maybe listening to this, and tell people this, that yeah, you have all these news channels, but we have a new technology now. We have a device that we have in our hands all the time that has a plethora of information. And I'm not going to tell you who to listen to or what you should actually be listening to, but just go out there and do your own search and listen to your own people and figure out if they're telling you the correct information. We have search engines that are, you can use Google or Bing or all different types of search engines to do your own research, but it is our duty as Americans to take the responsibility on to hold our representatives accountable. And we need to use the technology given to us to actually bring that to fruition.
Let me ask you, did you have a chance to sit down and watch and understand a lot of what was going on at the Democratic National Convention a week ago? And conversely, have you had a chance to watch any of the GOP convention?
So I've been able to watch a little bit more of the DNC than the RNC. I am working nights 7 days a week right now, so I'm definitely all over the place. But from what I gathered is with the DNC, there's a lot of generic things with the big names that they're staying out there. But then you have the smaller names that go out there, and their ideologies are very radical. They want to overturn the Constitution. They want to burn the American flag. And they don't want to take any responsibility for their own actions or their constituents. And from what I'm seeing from the RNC is that it's born and free in America and American proud. But I tell you what we're seeing from the RNC right now, if that was done 4 to 8 years ago, all of America would have been like, okay, like what are you talking about? What are you going to bring? Of course I'm proud to be an American. But the fact is that this is how far our country has gone so far, to the fact of where we have to have the RNC come out here and just say, hey, we live in a really good spot. And that has become a crazy idea to some people that are pandering to the left. And if we don't protect this Constitution, think of it, this is the greatest greatest society that has ever been developed. And for us to just throw this away so quickly is just it's asinine. We need to actually understand what we're dealing with right here and understand that we have the responsibilities as American citizens to protect this and use it to our advantage.
Jerry, I said in my first hour this morning, three words, and I want you to consider what I'm saying here. I said that the Republican National Convention was specializing and highlighting in emotions, inspiration, and nationalism. Now, those three words mean a lot to me, and I will absolutely go toe-to-toe with anybody that condemns me for saying nationalism or nationalist, because I'm doggone proud of this country as the best country ever on the face of the earth. What are your thoughts?
I couldn't agree with you more on that. But I tell you what, though, the difference I see of the DNC to the RNC is the manipulation that that these news outlets are actually giving it. Halfway through the RNC, they'll be interrupted so they can speak over the people that are actually talking on the show. I don't know if you've noticed that or not, but that's actually what's happening, and they're not actually giving these people the voice that they deserve. So there's definitely some manipulation happening there throughout these big mainstream media outlets, and America needs to wake up to that. You are worth more of that than this pandering. I'm not telling you who to vote for or who you should be listening to, but I do urge every American out there to step away from the mainstream media and to dive deep and figure out who they should be getting their information actually from, because we have smart Americans out there, and these smart Americans now have platforms with their own opinions and ideologies. Don't just get stuck on this big corporation stuff. Actually listen to common Americans and their ideas.
Absolutely. Jerry, let me ask you on the other side of the coin real quick, your thoughts about Donald Trump, the first 4 years and projecting hopefully that he gets into office again for another 4. What are your thoughts on the president?
Well, my thoughts on the president is I think that he gets a bad rap, but at the same time, you got to look at what's happening here. We have a technological advancement happening underway during his presidency. You know, never before did we have a president able to utilize social media the way we do now. And he gets a bad rep for doing that. But if you look at the way the tides are right now, if you were not to use, say such social media platforms as like Twitter, what kind of look would he get right now? You know, because the media says nothing but negative things about him constantly. And don't get me wrong, I don't think that Trump is God, or I don't think he's the devil. But what we need to look at is that he is a human being, and he deserves to have a fighting chance to have a voice in America with the freedom of press. And he's not getting that. So he gets to use social media as a platform to actually tell the American people what's actually happening here. And without that, I think that this country would be manipulated by the mainstream media right now. So I think it's important that to that people actually listen to what words are actually coming out of his mouth and not take somebody else's word for it. As far as what he's done so far, I tell you what, I'm a union guy, and when the Obama administration was here, we had to take pay cuts, we had to bail out industries, and now the Trump administration's here, we're working 7 days a week, 10, 12 hours a day. And that's what a lot of these union guys want. They want to put money in their pocket, and they want to have money there for their pensions and so they can support their families. And I tell you what, as a union guy, that's what's happening right now. We have the work, and our economy is doing well. So all these underlying issues are what they are. But I look at the big picture. We're not going to war with a bunch of random countries, and we're working diligently. And those things are very important.
You know, Jerry, I think you would concur with me that there are a lot of people that condemn Donald Trump because of his mannerisms. They condemn him because of his mode of speech. They condemn him because of his abrasive personality. But I'll tell you what, I don't want him to change, and I'll tell you why. We're seeing the real meal deal in Donald Trump and not some phony politician. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I would agree with that. You know what? And you know what? People think that there's some type of stature that comes with presidency, and be that as it may, that they're not wrong with that. You should be having a certain stature and respect on the way you voice your opinions to the public, because you are representing America on a large scale. But be that as it may, he is without sin can cast that first stone. So, you know, like, we all make mistakes. We all say things that are offensive to people, and we are all not perfect. And if Donald Trump shows anything about the American people, it's that, yes, he is not perfect, just like every other citizen in the entire United States. And we need to learn from our mistakes and grow from them. And to judge people from their past is not a good way to go, but we need to see which way they're going into the future.
After listening to you for about 10 minutes, Jerry, I'm going to ask you a very simple question. When are you going to run for political position?
To be honest with you, it depends on, right now I am getting some support that people want me to run for a political position. My social media is growing pretty rapidly right now, which, by the way, if anybody would like to follow me, Jerry Wayne AR14 on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And if it comes to the point to where I need to run for political office, I'm going to go off the back of the American people pushing me to go there. I'm not going to go there so I can actually be some high and dry kind of guy and to make something of myself. I want to do it because the American people need it, and I want to be a representative for the American people.
I want to tell you,
I'm trying to work on this other organization that's going to stimulate the patriotism in America through going through the children.
Amen.
And by developing independent entrepreneurs of the future that actually can understand the importance of gun safety. So that's something I'm working on the side right now, and I hope that I can make a big difference there. But I'm here to do what America needs me to do. This whole thing that I've been pushed into is nothing short of an inconvenience. The fact that I'm out here doing this stuff when our representatives are getting paid to do it, it is ridiculous.
Amen.
Don't get me wrong. I do it with pride, but I do it with honor. But we have Congress, we have senators, we have a bunch of people that we are paying a lot of money to get this done, and yet they are acting like children. And now we have American civilians having to step up to lead the way. And that is an embarrassment to our country. And it's time us American citizens take the responsibility into our hands to hold our representatives accountable.
You know, Jerry, if you ever get out to Idaho, you look me up. I'll buy you the biggest steak dinner and adult beverage that you can handle. God bless you, man, for your thoughts. I wish you the best, and I'm going to have you back on the show in the future. Thank you so much.
I'd be honored. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, sir. Jerry Wayne, and he had an up-close and personal confrontation with Joe Biden. I remember seeing it on the news when Biden just kind of sloughed him off, and I really appreciate his comments. There is a young man that's going to go a long, long way. Thank you very much. Right now, I want to remind you about our friends at Patterson's Electronics. Absolutely. Curtis and Lorena over at Patterson's Electronics, 421 East Main in Burley. Oh, they've got all your electronic needs. You know, if it comes to car stereos and speakers, got the best. Home theater systems, got the best. Video surveillance cameras, got the best. TVs, Samsung, Sony, Toshiba, LG TVs, got the best. And information on electronics, they've got the best right there at Patterson's Electronics. Open Monday through Saturday, 9 to 6, and closed closed on Sundays. They need a day of rest. They're busy and they're tired. Patterson's Electronics, 421 East Main in Burley. Time for the weather quickly, and the weather brought to you this hour by Phillips Oaks Goodwin Crane and Company, and they are, of course, the professionals in accounting services to the Mini-Cassia area for over 50 years. I mean, those that know, they are the best in tax return preparation, tax planning, business consulting, financial statement preparation, retirement planning, and the list goes on and on. Offices located in Burley and Rupert, the professionals, Phillips Oaks Goodwin Crane and Company. And right now, here's Gina with the weather.
We're finally out of that air quality alert as the smoke is slowly starting to disappear. Here's what's your weather forecast for today. It's going to be nice and clear as far as that air quality is concerned. Sunny skies. We are expecting a high of 83. A little bit of a breeze, not too bad. Tonight the winds could pick up just a little bit. Clear skies with a low of 53. Tomorrow, as we get ready for the weekend, sunny skies and 84 with an overnight low of 54. By Saturday, sunny and 86, 72. For Sunday, maybe 71 for Monday. That's look at your weather for Zeb at the Ranch.
And I appreciate it, Gina. Great job, as usual, on the weather. And the weather this hour brought to you by the professionals, Phillips Oaks Goodwin Crane and Company. Absolutely. If you're a businessman and you want to expand your business or maybe start a corporation, whatever, you need answers. They've got them at Phillips Oaks Goodwin Crane and Company. Get a hold of them today at 1710 Overland Avenue in Burley and 620 5th Street in Rupert. Phillips Oaks Goodwin Crane and Company. Wow, what a busy morning. A very busy morning. And I want to take this time to thank, again, I've been getting calls every hour on the hour, and people are leaving messages on my cell phone and a lot of emails. Yes, my wife is in the hospital. We told you that on Monday, and she is having a little trouble. And I got to be really careful what I say because this is very emotional for me. She is my right arm. And everything I do is dependent upon her and her assistance. And you never know how much you miss somebody when they are sick or in the hospital. And right now I can tell you that I'm extremely worried, but I appreciate all your thoughts, your kind thoughts, your prayers, and hopefully come next week we'll have better news. Thank you again. Want to mention to you, too, pardon me, if you're hungry and starving to death, I know some great places where you can go and take care of that problem, and they include the AC Drive-In at 601 East Main in Burley. They've got all kinds of kids' meals, you know, with the chicken nuggets and the small fry and the 12-ounce drink, and then, of course, they've got all the burgers. They've got that famous Farmer Brown burger. Oh, that's so good. And in the warm weather, they've got the lemon freezes and the orange freezes and all the shakes. Oh, my, it's good, good, good. Over at the AC Drive-In, 601 East Main in Burley. Also, Taco Bandito at 2301 Overland in Burley. I'll tell you what, from early in the morning till all through the day, this is the place to go. They have a great place to get together with your friends for morning coffee and maybe have one of those delicious breakfast burritos, scrambled eggs, bacon and sausage, cheese, onions, tomatoes, and sauce on a tortilla shell. Oh, it's good. All the menu choices delicious at Taco Bandito, 2301 Overland in Burley. Moving on to two locations of Burgers Etc. 124 South Oneida in Rupert and 700 Overland in Burley. And let me tell you, you can get corn dogs and burritos. Did you hear this? Corn dogs and burritos for only $1.29. Well, get on in. All the burgers, everything is delicious. And above all, really nice people to serve you. Really helpful people at Burgers Etc. in Rupert and Burley. Last but not least, I want to mention Steve-O's. I'm drooling. I'm so hungry. I've been eating my own cooking, which is not good. But anyhow, Steve-O's, 290 South, 600 West of Heyburn. Food made the way that you love it. Oh, my goodness. Yes, they've got all the tasty steaks, the fillets, the ribeyes, the sirloins. Thanks to the Double R Ranch for those steaks. And the patio's open in good weather with music, live music on the weekends. Oh, you're going to love it. And cupcakes and great people. My goodness. Run over and take a good look at the menu and enjoy the food at Steve-O's, 290 South, 600 West of Heyburn. And those are a few great places to go when you're hungry and starving to death. I got time for a call or two. Give me a jingle on the landline, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Has anybody heard or seen Joe Biden since the convention? Has anybody seen any film clips? Has anybody seen him or heard him answer any questions? And the amazing thing to me is every day I get a hold of some friends of mine back east in New York, and I try to get as much political information as I can from them as to what's happening. And the amazing thing to me is that they say, underline the word say, that in the bulk of most of the polls, again, they say, Biden is still leading. Here's a man that's not coming out of the basement. A man that is having a hard time because of senility answering questions with any kind of knowledgeable address. And he's leading in the polls, they say, and nobody can ask him questions. Nobody can hear him. He's not out on the stump. He's not seeing people. And really, somebody correct me if I'm wrong, where's Kamala Harris? This is absolutely the most Looney Tunes campaign that I've ever seen or heard of in all my 72 years. You can basically lock yourself in the closet and be a presidential and vice presidential candidate for the public to vote for you? This is crazy. Absolutely crazy. What have we got coming up next hour? Well, we have Cassia County School Days at 10:06. We're going to be talking to the Declo Elementary principal about being back in school. And then we've got a business salute coming up with Josh over at Berry Equipment and Rental. And then by popular demand, and I mean we've had a ton of people that have got a hold of me either on phone or email and said, please have Dr. Brian Ardis back on your program. Very outspoken about the coronavirus, and he's the CEO of artislabs.com. He'll be coming back on at 10:30 this morning. So there you have it. I'm going to turn it over a minute or two early. I've got a couple of phone calls I've got to make. My dear friend Sean's going to take us up to news from CBS. I'll be right back. Welcome back. Hour number 3, Zeb at the Ranch on this Thursday, August 27th. Thank you for tuning in, and of course brought to you by our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7 locations serving you in a very safe, clean environment and the best in tires. Along with our friends at Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. Want to remind you quickly about our friends, and they are our friends and your friends at Greystone Crossing Senior Living on Alfresco Road, 2120. I got my addresses all mixed up. I want to remind you on 21st Street, right there a mile east of Walmart on Alfresco Road, a beautiful brand new 12-bedroom facility for seniors. And they can enjoy 3 wonderful meals a day, snacks, housekeeping, and local transportation, all included in the rent. I urge the seniors to please get a hold of them today and ask for an appointment to see this beautiful facility at 650-4979. That number again, Matt and Kelly Wiggins at 650-4979. Beautiful place for seniors. Greystone Crossing Senior Living on 21st Street in Heyburn. You get a hold of them today. Want to also give a great big shout out to our friends at 7K Metals. 7K metals and silver purchases that you can purchase and have sent right to your home. You can help create your own financial security and future. And it's not only a great saving opportunity, it's a valued treasure for your loved ones in the future. How do you find out more about investing in silver? Well, let me tell you this. Contact two good friends of mine, Lon Hardy at 312-8699 and Sharon at 430-3259. Tell them I told you to call, please, and they can help you create your own security bank through silver purchases with 7K metals. Right now it's time for our Cassia County School Days, and with us on the phone is the Declo...
Have anyone on the phone? No one's called.
Oh, boy, I hope they do shortly. Thank you very much, Sean. That'll give me an opportunity to tell you a little bit about what's going on at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More as we wait for Kevin Lloyd to give us a call. And, of course, Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More, with everything in the store. I mean everything for all your furniture needs. I'll be right there. All your furniture needs, all your recliners, all your floor coverings and carpet. I mean, the rolls and rolls and rolls of carpet. And don't forget, they've got all the mattresses, including the Simmons Beauty Rest mattresses for a good night's sleep. Don't forget, stop in and see Jeff and the crew today at 459 Overland in Burley. It's Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More. Right now, he's there at this time, and this is Kevin Lloyd, the Declo Elementary principal. Good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm doing great, Zeb. How are you?
I'm good. Well, it's back to school, and those three words mean more this year than I think ever before. Would you agree?
I do. I really agree.
Tell us about what is happening at your elementary school and the environment and the conversations and the thoughts of the kids and the teachers. Kind of bring us up to speed.
Well, it's been a very anticipated and an interesting transition this year. A lot of never-haves and newness to it. Declo Elementary, when we had our back-to-school night, it looked different. We had to spread it out and have our parents come in shifts, if you will, trying to limit the numbers. But the tone and the message is clear. We take this situation, COVID, and all the health ramifications for our families here seriously. But at the same time, it's going to be okay. And so those two thoughts, we take it seriously, but it's going to be great. It's going to be okay. Our families in our community, at least at Declo, and I believe throughout Cassia and Mini Cassia, it's quite the gamut of people. Some very concerned, taking very stringent cautionary steps. Other families just simply wanting to get back to normalcy and back to school and have everything as it was. So it's a challenge, but it's a fun challenge.
Kevin, as an administrator, I wouldn't trade cowboy boots with you for anything. I mean, this has got to be a tough job. And you can't be a protector for all things. I mean, a virus is a virus, whether it's the flu virus, whether it's a cold that's going to spread through the school, or in this case, now the coronavirus. And it's something that's not going to go away. So how do you handle the what is in place of the what ifs?
Well, you're exactly right. Statistically speaking, it doesn't matter what we do. You get enough people together in a community, you're going to have spread of communicable diseases or sicknesses. So it's not a matter of if one of our kiddos or one of our community members is going to get sick, but when. And the idea is we try to create procedures and policies and practices in our school that will mitigate the interruption to the education. So in other words, trying to come up with practices here that are positive and make it so the disease doesn't spread as much and it doesn't take our kiddos out of school so they don't miss as much education.
Let me ask you this. What changes have you had to make? And again, I'm asking questions as if I were a parent of a younger child right now. What changes are made on the buses? What kind of changes are made when kids are on the playground? What kind of changes are made when they go to the lunchroom? I mean, holy smokes, how do you audit all this?
There's a lot, and we had to rethink pretty much everything. And you said a bunch of them, but even further, simple classroom procedures and practices have to be rethought. Because there's good teaching practices, and then there's, practices that minimize the amount of interaction and how close you are to one to another. But to give you some examples of what we've done, and all of my awesome, brothers and sister schools throughout our county and throughout Minidoka as well are similar. One, in lunchroom, you try to minimize the amount of interaction of kiddos, trying to keep kiddos together and separate as much as possible. So in the lunchroom, we've separated grade levels and separated our tables throughout a gym and the lunchroom. On the playground, morning and afternoon, we've separated grade levels, so they go out a grade level at a time versus all of them at one time. In the classroom, separate the kiddos as much as possible. It's not always perfect, but you do the best you can. Teachers, that's one of the concerns I've had, which is, the most concern is that for my teachers that are prone, or if they were to get corona, it would be a detriment to them, and they're interacting with, 20-plus kiddos in the classroom, plus all their families, that interaction. So giving them the resources they need to feel comfortable and to do a good job.
I'm sitting here and I'm trying to go back in my mind, which I'm an old man, and think about my elementary school experiences that I can remember. And kids are going to be kids. Kids are going to want to be together. Kids are going to share things. Kids are going to roughhouse. Kids are going to do things that now we're telling them they can't do, and we don't want them to be kids. This is really tough on them.
Well, here's the bottom line. We're going to treat... amongst, even beyond all the physical possibility of kiddos getting sick, the reality is kids need emotional support and connectivity and normalcy. They need to feel that they're safe and they can be who they want to be. So, yes, as adults, we take this seriously and we take very strong steps to make sure kids are safe. After that, like you just said, the kids are kids, and they're not going to follow procedure. They're going to grab their friends and give them hugs. They're going to rough and tumble, and they're going to, kind of do what they do. But that doesn't stop us from doing what we can. We try to do our best, and we'll remind them. But at the end of the day, we need to make sure that they feel safe and they feel that it's okay to be a kid.
Kevin, how much, and I know this is hard to put your finger on, but I've had you on the program before and you're very good. How much of their growth in their education has been absolutely wiped out by closure since March until now?
Well, I'm very keen on that question. I don't have a holistic answer for you right now. As of right now, we've been assessing in the upper grades, we've been assessing the mathematics and the reading as fast as we can. In the lower grades, the reading has been the priority there. But by next week, I'll have great numbers. But to answer this to you, I'm estimating that about 20% of my population here are below where I would have expected them. In other words, I can expect, atrophy throughout the summertime, but I'm seeing that a little bit bigger, about 20% more of the atrophy that I do see extended. So, yeah, we've got an uphill battle a little bit here to get the kids back where we need them.
And what you said right there sums up my feelings. Get the kids back where we need them. And I would encompass that back where we need them is back in a classroom, back with their peers, back in a situation where the teacher's up there at the chalkboard instead of on the Internet. Would you concur?
For the vast majority of the kids that I have had the privilege to interact with, 100% agree. They do better face-to-face. They do better with their peers, learning from each other, making mistakes, and learning. They do better in the classroom. I have run into situations where certain kiddos and their family situations where they do great online. That is not the norm. The norm is get the kids in the classroom, they learn. And that's a big concern of mine. There's definitely a number of people who feel more comfortable doing homeschooling now and different things. And I hope they're successful. I pray that they're successful. I anticipate some kids coming back, and we're having a larger gap there.
We have to have in our society, and I don't care if it's a school system or if it's at an office job, I don't care where it is, you have to have interaction with people on a daily basis if we're going to grow as a civilization.
Yep, agreed. The more interaction you have, the more well-rounded people you get. The more challenges they face, the more opposition they face, and get over with assistance, the better they'll be. No, I wholeheartedly agree with you.
Let me ask you this. What about the other end of the spectrum? I mean, we're talking about the kids, and we're talking about their peer groups, and we're talking about their education, and they're on the playgrounds and everything else. What about the teachers and the school personnel? What are their thoughts?
You know, it was interesting. The type of people you hire as a principal to be an educator, whether a teacher or a para or anyone in the school, the type of person you look for are the type of people that can connect with adults and children, more importantly, and be able to enjoy their company, enjoy their shenanigans, their craziness, and love them enough to look past it and to teach them. That's the type of people I hire, and I'm sure it's the same everywhere. Well, when COVID hit and when Idaho closed their schools and went completely online, it was a very hard transition for my people. They didn't like it. They didn't like not having that connectivity, that interaction, you know, the ability to gauge and look in someone's eyes and see if they're okay. It was hard. So as far as my people, how they're doing and what we can do for them, honestly, having the kids in the classroom is the best thing for them, and they wanted it.
Let me ask you this question. What about the interaction with the parents? I mean, I get sometimes very appalled and very annoyed at the lack of parental responsibility when it comes to a PTA meeting or something. Are the parents more cognizant of what needs to be done and more accessible to working with the school?
I really think that the parents are waiting to take their cue from the schools, how much interaction, how much, you know, on-site help they need. And I think, I can only speak for my Declo parents, but they've been awesome. They've been as willing and ready to help out as we've requested, as we've kind of gone through this unprecedented time. But they've been pretty amazing, honestly. They're ready to come back.
All right, we've got a call, I believe, with a quick question or a comment. Caller, quickly, I'm almost out of time. Please, you're on the air.
Well, I know, for instance, my local school is open, and I noticed the grade schoolers were all there, and the teachers were doing their job, and we're glad to be back and doing the right thing for the children. Up in Boise, which is, you know, trying to turn blue on us from red, one of the most liberal school districts, or one of the liberal neighborhoods, north end of Boise, where Boise High School is, and other grade schools by it, the teachers up there, the teachers union, they are saying, we're not going to come and teach your children without hazard pay. And you say to yourself, well, the teachers union obviously doesn't care about the children, and if they study children and COVID, there's virtually no hazard to it. And, you know, whether or not they're just greedy or whether or not they think they're going to contribute to getting rid of Trump, either one, the people of the north end of Boise are going to suffer because of the teachers union and the teachers. I'll hang up.
Respond to the caller, if you would, please, Kevin.
Well, bottom line is, when kids don't get the proper support and education they need, they're going to suffer.
Absolutely.
And so up north, if they're making those decisions, then that will have a detriment to their students, and that's a very sad thing.
Absolutely.
To be where I'm at right now with our parents here and their support of our district and the kids.
Let me ask you this last final question, Kevin. You've got the floor for about 30 seconds of giving like Lincoln's Gettysburg Address. What would you want the parents and or the public or anyone listening to know about the feelings you have about opening up school 2020?
Yeah. So I think what you said earlier was perfect, which was simply, this is with us now, COVID. This is our reality, and this is going to be our reality for some time. We're going to live with this for a long time. It's going to be part of it. And if we're going to have a semblance of normalcy, or rather consistency, just get it into our minds. There's going to be COVID. And let's not overreact, and I'll do my best on my part, and I hope all principals and all administration will do, and that we'll just take it seriously, take it one step at a time, but we're going to keep our doors open as much as we possibly can, and if the community supports us, I think we'll be successful.
You are excellent at what you do. Thank you, Kevin Lloyd, Declo Elementary Principal. I certainly hope you'll consent to coming back on the program.
Oh, I look forward to it. Thank you, Zeb.
Thank you, sir. God bless. Thank you much. Wow. I mean, there is a sharp cookie right there. Thank you, Mr. Lloyd. Want to remind you again, the Bennett Boys Auction Service going to have a big sale this Saturday on August 29th at 11 o'clock in Shoshone, 470 North, 375 West, north of Shoshone at Johnny's Country Store. Look for the signs. They'll guide you in to the Jerome Fitzgerald Estate Sale with trailers and boats and sporting equipment, antiques and collectibles, horse equipment, shop tools, all kinds of things. Be sure and attend at 11 o'clock this Saturday morning, the Jerome Fitzgerald Estate Sale over in Shoshone, managed by the Bennett Boys Auction Service. No sale too big, no sale too small. The Bennett Boys, they sell them all. By the way, quickly, don't forget that the urgent cares, 3 of them, Riverview Urgent Care and Medical Center on Overland Avenue in Burley, Twin Falls Urgent Care on Addison Avenue East, and Urgent Care of Jerome at 133 West Avenue A in Jerome are letting you know that they're giving $10 sports physicals for your athletes. That's right, your student athletes. No appointment necessary. These sports physicals regularly were $20, now just $10 till the end of August, and all the money will be donated back to your school's athletic program. There you go. Stop in at the Urgent Cares, Riverview Urgent Care and Medical Center on Overland and Burley, Urgent Care of Jerome, and Urgent Care of Twin Falls. Right now, we're going to go to the phone line, and we have with us, I believe he's on the phone right.
Called yet?
Oh, no, we got to call him. We've got to call him.
I thought we were doing Cassia County school days, or
we just did. Now the business salute for Josh over at Barry Equipment and Rental. All right, he's going to call him real quick, and we'll get him on the line. So we'll try to get Josh quickly and put him on the line. In about 6-7 minutes, we're going to also have Dr. Brian Artis on our phone, and he's going to be talking to us about the coronavirus, bring us an update as to what they're doing or not doing on a national and worldwide level, talk to him a little bit about the mask and about any medications or vaccines that he sees and has heard about that might be somewhat of a stoppage of the coronavirus, not only here but across all the countries in the world. Let's check and see if we've got Josh on the line.
they're getting him right now.
All right, very good. Waiting for our friends over at Barry Equipment and Rental. Josh should be on the air with us momentarily. And again, next Monday on the program, don't forget, we've got Rick Manning coming back on the show at 9:06. And he has worked with President Trump. He knows him very well, and we are going to be talking to him about not only the Republican convention that ends this week, but also other issues. So don't forget that next Monday at 9:06. Do we have him? We're almost running out of time. Oh, boy, I hope they hurry. And I'm kind of padding for time here. Quickly, there is no lunch bunch today. That has been canceled. And therefore, I want you to realize that the reason Deanna's in the hospital and we couldn't put everything together, hopefully she will be much, much better for next month, and we'll have a new lunch bunch, I hope, for the month of September at Denny's Restaurant, America's Diner. Is he there?
No.
Well,
they put me on hold, so I don't know what's going on.
Well, let's take another call then, and we'll pad the time, and I don't understand why he's not answering the line. If that calls for us, we'll take it quickly before we go to the bottom of the hour announcements over at the studio. Do we have a call? I'm sitting here kind of like...
I'm working on it.
Okay. I'm sitting here like a man that has sharks swimming around the island. I don't know what's happening, and hopefully we can get somebody to talk to us.
Evidently, Josh is busy, but we've got someone else on the line.
Good, I'll take it. Good morning. You're on the air. Thank you. Talk to me, caller. No, they're not.
Go ahead.
good.
Good morning, caller. You're on the air. What can I do for you?
Hi, this is Taylor with Berry Equipment.
Where is Josh, my dear?
Josh is out helping with a customer, and so you guys are stuck with me this morning.
Well, we're down to just a very few minutes left, but I wanted to talk to you about all the different equipment. You've got quite an inventory over there. Can you give us kind of a rundown about all the Bobcats and the trenchers and everything else? Tell us what you got.
Yeah, we have, with the Bobcats, we have a bunch of different mini excavators for all your different needs with buckets, with teeth and smooth buckets, so you can do the different kind of digging.
Right.
And then the skid steers we have both with wheels and tracks.
Are you going to be teaching people how to run this equipment? Are you the main teacher?
I'm not the main teacher. I do know how to run all the equipment. I have both Josh, which is what he's doing right now, and some yard guys outside that know how to run all the machines like the back of their hand.
You know, I want to ask you real quick. You've got a little practice pen, if you will, out behind your location at 159 West Highway 30 in Burley. And I know you've got thrown into this at the last minute, but can you tell us a little bit about the lease programs and the financing programs to buy the equipment?
So I do more of the rental and parts and service.
Okay.
But we do have a lot of different lease and financing options that more Josh is able to do. We're able to work with just about anyone. Everything that's here on the yard, either new or used or trade-ins, are all for sale.
Okay. And I might jump in and help you a little bit. There are 3 locations of Berry Equipment and Rental: 159 West Highway 30 in Burley, 465 Addison Avenue West in Twin, and the Nampa location. And please give me your first name again.
My name is Taylor.
Taylor, I want to tell you something. The minute you hang up this phone, I want you to go to Josh, and I want you to look him in the eye and say, I demand a raise for you putting me on the hot seat, okay?
I will definitely do that.
Hey, listen, God bless you, and we'll send everybody into Berry Equipment and Rental. Thank you for doing what you did this morning.
Yes, and thank you.
All right, God bless. You know, imagine the poor lady had no idea she was going to be doing the advertisement for Berry Equipment and Rental, and at the last minute jumps in, and I think Taylor deserves a great big round of applause. That a girl, you did a good job at Berry Equipment and Rental. We're going to take a little break right now, send it back over to our main studios. We'll be back in about 3 minutes.
And now, back to Zeb at the Ranch on AM 1230 KBAR. To reach Zeb, call 436-2244 or toll free 1-866-927-4587. And now, here is Zeb.
Thank you very much, and welcome back to our last half-hour segment. And with us on the phone line is a gentleman that absolutely impressed me and my audience the last couple of times he's been on, Dr. Brian Ardis, CEO of Ardis.
Get him on the air or on the phone, Zeb.
He's not on the phone line?
No one answered. Just went straight to messaging, so
well,
I'm trying again.
Okay, keep trying, please. This is the kind of a day that it's been. I tell you what. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Hopefully we will be able to get that doctor on the line. Let me ask you this, Sean. I've got another number that may work if you could try that. Are you right there?
Yeah, go ahead and give it to me.
The last 4 digits would be the same as what you have, but 4281. 4281. Try that number, please.
Okay.
All right, thank you. We'll hopefully catch the doctor. I know a lot of people have expressed an interest in having him on the air, again, to answer questions about COVID-19. And it seems like today is a bad day to try to get communication taken care of, but that's all right. We'll get through it. I want to remind you quickly, Edith's Cafe at 144 East Highway 81 in Burley. Don't forget they're open Tuesday through Thursday and Friday and Saturday, 11 to 9. Don't forget excellent food excellent food, from hamburgers all the way to steaks and all the menu items in between. Fantastic. And don't forget they've got call-in orders, too, at 878-2248. 878-2248. You be sure and stop in or give them a call. They do catering, too. All of this at Edith's Cafe, 144 East Highway 81 in Burley. You stop in and see them today. Sean, again, please.
He's on the phone.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, as I mentioned a moment ago, we're very fortunate to have him back on our program by popular demand, the CEO of Artis Labs, Dr. Bryan Ardis. Sir, good morning to you. Glad to have you back.
Good morning to you, sir. How are you?
Well, I'm frustrated. I got to tell you this right now, Dr. Ardis, because I think the coronavirus and everything attached to it has literally taken over our lives, and I think that's a horrendous thing with a virus that's not going to go away. What are your thoughts?
My thoughts are exactly the same as you. I think we all get tired of it. It's ran its course through the media and through our minds and through our hearts, and I think it's been enough. And I have personally, and I will tell you, I'm sick and tired of the whole thing. There are many, many facets to this that I have problems with that I've shared with the audience before, but enough is enough. I agree.
Let me ask you something, Doctor, and I'm going to get really personal on this in my regard. My wife has has a condition that has put her in the hospital since last Sunday. And with all these precautions and all these serious, this might happen or that might happen, the hospital will not even allow me to go in and see her at the hospital in her very serious condition. And I'm so frustrated, I'm about ready to get a bulldozer and force my way in.
There have been many, many times, I will tell you, my best friend currently dropped his wife off 3 months ago for what was considered a routine hysterectomy. She was to be home the next day. She never left the hospital because of complications that they couldn't control, and the protocols they put in place for her caused her death within 12 days, and he wasn't allowed to go up there for the first 10 days until she went unconscious.
Oh, my.
And that is horrific. And I'm really, really sorry that you're sitting in that same position. I told my friend then, and I'll tell you now, I would do everything in my power. You should, through this program. You should have connections and ties to attorneys, and you should actually file a suit to give you access to get in there and actually get access to your wife and be there for her. There should be no way that they're allowed to restrict you to have access to see her.
Absolutely.
In a serious condition like that.
And I'm going to
be there. An attorney can make sure that happens.
I'm going to be pursuing that.
Unfortunately, attorneys can help it make it happen.
Absolutely, and I'm going to be pursuing that immediately after this program. Dr. Ardis,
I would do it.
There are so many things that are known and unknown, and I got to tell you what, maybe you think I'm a crackpot, but I think all the information that's out there is absolutely, well, this is this, oh no, this is right. And then they reverse, and the next day they come out and say totally the opposite. Does anybody really know who's carrying the football?
No one does. There's just a whole lot of political driven agendas. And I'll just tell you, when it comes to the health of individuals, you have to consider this for your health as an American citizen. It should be disgusting to you that this one healthcare system of all developed countries in the world is the most expensive healthcare system and prides itself and says it is the greatest healthcare system in the world. Yet this one system has almost double the amount of deaths from one virus than all other developed countries. That should be disgusting to all of you. You should not trust those who are speaking on behalf of protocols. It is not acceptable. It should be screamed from all of us and demanded to have a different approach. Because the protocols they have in place right now are literally killing our citizens.
Okay, but
to me, I actually consider this to be no different. Rwanda, about 20 or 30 years ago, had a massive genocide that killed 800,000 to 1 million people in 100 days with machetes. To me, this corona epidemic in America, this should be called Dr. Fauci's genocide in America 2020. The actual recommendation to use remdesivir is killing all of these people. The threat of death is not from the virus. The threat of death is from the protocol to use a drug that is not proven to be safe and is killing our citizens.
You talked about this the last time you were on the program, remdesivir, and the dangers of giving that or applying it to COVID patients because of other activities in their system that are causing problems, whether it's a kidney disease, a heart disease, or whatever. Why aren't people really realizing, hey, maybe this isn't the best drug under all circumstances?
It is amazing to me that people haven't considered why are these people dying and why are they not questioning. This is the reason why I decided to get on shows and radio and TV, and thank you for allowing me the opportunity to share it with you and your audience. If I can make a difference in one person's lives, all they need to know is the truth. It is unfortunate, but for decades, politicians, pharmaceutical companies have actually hidden truths from you for their own agenda, their own financial well-being and benefit. This is no different. Remdesivir is not an FDA-approved drug. In the one study against any virus ever before COVID, it was actually performed in a study to see if it would be effective against Ebola patients, which was a virus, 4 years ago. And they actually found that it killed more people than any of the other 3 investigational drugs. And everyone in the study was pulled off of remdesivir, and it wasn't allowed to be used halfway through the study all the way to the end. It wasn't proven to be effective then. Why in the world would any political government agency, health or not, push and recommend a drug that was not proven in studies to be effective but was found to be dangerous?
Let me ask you this, Doctor. Let me ask you this, Dr. Ardis. We are 8 months into this coronavirus, not only here in the United States, but worldwide, basically. And do you see any lights at the end of the tunnel, or what are they doing? What's being accomplished? What are you hearing in the medical profession as to vaccines or medicines or some kind of cure or stoppage of this virus?
Yeah. The truth is there's not going to be a vaccine that's going to come out and cure COVID. This virus is going to live on for decades, just like all other coronaviruses do. There's almost 20 different coronaviruses that we've known for decades that have been around and have been researched and studied. Flu viruses, for example, flu vaccines have not eradicated the flu. The flu will continue to mutate. It will continue to replicate. It will have different various strands, and it will continue to perpetrate itself throughout the societies of humans and throughout animals. It's going to continue to live. The truth that people need to understand is that your immune systems can handle clearing viruses. The humans and their bodies naturally have defenses against viruses and have had those defenses in place the entire existence of man. The question becomes, why do we feel so threatened and so in fear and anxiety about the flu, about pneumonia, about COVID? What is the fear and anxiety around these different viruses? The pandemic fear that's being portrayed is solely fear-driven to make you afraid of dying from the virus. I just told you, no one's dying from COVID in this country. They're dying from a drug. 95% of all of them are dying from a drug treatment that is proven to kill people and have the highest mortality rate against any other experimental drugs for viruses. So then the question remains, how do you actually protect yourself, keep your immune system strong enough to eliminate viruses? Your body has been doing it for decades. And there are several things you have to do to improve your immune system's function. I don't know if you know this, but for example, one of the things that allows this infection to spread, and any other infection to spread, even the flu, human beings spread this one to another through contact, through breathing, through coughing.
Mm-hmm.
We usually breathe it in through our sinuses as it's coughed on us, or we actually ingest it into our mouth off of our hands. But once you take in that virus, the reason why it's allowed to thrive in the first place is because our immune systems are already suppressed because of the intake of what is called carbohydrates or sugars.
Mm-hmm.
Sugars behave like steroids. They literally, when you ingest them, they suppress the immune system and allows the virus to replicate and thrive. If you want to boost the immune system and keep it strong enough, don't put stuff in there that suppresses it. So when I came on your show before, I offered a report that actually talked about the things you can do inside the body to boost your immune system. Most people have no idea, except for infectious disease doctors, medical professionals, and alternative healthcare professionals. The human body produces what is called T killer cells. That's your thymus gland behind your sternum. That's what the T represents, thymus. T killer cells. Your body already has the ability to make cells, T killer cells, that can kill every known cancer cell, every known virus, including HIV, Ebola, even corona viruses. The truth is, you just got to give the body what it needs, and some of those things are selenium, zinc, magnesium, and calcium. These are what your body uses to make those antibodies. If we're deficient in those things, and we're depleted in those, you don't have a stronger immune system. If you take medications on a regular basis, it shuts down your bone marrow's production of white blood cells.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, your immune system is weaker. There's a lot of complicating factors, which is one of the major reasons so many people, especially the elderly who have pre-existing conditions like heart disease, diabetes, they are more at risk for trauma to the body from the drug therapies because the medications they're already living on are creating both mineral and vitamin deficiencies and kidney and liver destruction. Then you throw in another drug like remdesivir that's proven to cause acute kidney failure. It is going to shut down immediately. Your lungs are going to fill with fluid. They're going to misdiagnose you with pneumonia, which is what they say about every COVID patient. They don't have pneumonia. They have pulmonary edema, and they are literally being drowned to death in the bed. They can't breathe.
Oh, my goodness. We have a caller with a quick question. I'm limited on time this morning. Caller, quickly, you're on the air.
Well, you were talking about...
Quickly, caller, quickly.
Been reaching out with his tentacles of control, and the CDC is following his guidelines to a point. In Idaho, Southwest District Health Board member Brian Elliott was called up by a federal CDC individual, and he was nothing short of threatening this man. And there was a video on it, and he said, "You're not going to talk to me like this, but this is what's going on across the nation, whether or not it's our governors, our mayors, or gutless members of the boards of these health districts. They are either being, bought off or being coerced, and it's got to end." I'll hang up.
Respond to the caller, if you would, please, Dr. Ardis.
I'm in total agreement that it needs to end, and it is a horrible truth. There are people in government, there are people in all facets of this society who are conspiring behind closed doors to do horrible things to you, horrible things to your children, and this is no exception, unfortunately.
Let me ask you a quick question. I'm down to the last 3 minutes of time, Doctor, but aren't they doing it in perhaps the wrong fashion? Shouldn't they, the scientists and the medical experts, be studying this problem with the coronavirus from the elderly, the seniors, back down through society to the juveniles? I mean, it seems to me that that's the most susceptible group, so why not start with the seniors and work backwards?
You aren't kidding. This is what I find very interesting. With all pharmaceutical drug research studies, I find this extremely disturbing. Every single research study that's ever been done on a drug that's been new or just recently created, like remdesivir, they do studies on individuals. When they start human trials, they don't choose humans who have an illness or preconditioning existing. They choose individuals between the age of 20 and 30 who have zero symptoms and zero diseases. Then they give them the drug and pay them to take it, and then have those healthy individuals tell them all the horrible side effects that happen to them as a result of taking the drug. When they get that list, they create what's called a list of side effects, and then they start giving it to sick people with heart disease, diabetes, flus, whatever it is. You're giving it to immunocompromised people. And what's interesting, you're doing studying on people who are not compromised. You're doing it on healthy individuals, and they are having horrible side effects. What do you think is going to happen to those who are ill or immunocompromised or already have pre-existing conditions? This fits what your question is. Why aren't we working with the seniors and elderly first? You would think we'd want to protect them. You would think the government would want to take care of them. These individuals have been working their whole lives providing taxes to this government, working their rear ends off every day, providing benefit to this organization. and the backbone of this country. And you would think that they would want to take care of them and preserve their health for as long as possible.
Absolutely.
That's not their interest.
Absolutely. Dr. Ardis, and to the caller that's waiting, I'm flat out of time. I tell you what, I'll give the caller 15 seconds for your question and a quick response. Go ahead, caller, fast.
Yes, doctor. On the 5th of August, I had an operation on my sinuses, and I just can't seem to bounce back. I just don't have any energy.
What were you being treated with or for besides sinuses?
Well, just breathing, hard to breathe.
No, what was your condition? Did you have the flu or did you have a sinus infection? What were you being treated for?
I guess just blockage or something that is causing it.
Okay, I'll give you a heads up. If you want to improve sinuses to any degree, including allergies, including sinus infections, the key is you have to get the liver to dump itself and clean itself out. So everything drains from the head through the liver. And I'll just tell you right now, if you go online to Amazon.com, look up a supplement called Antronex, Antronex, from Standard Process. Buy it, take the recommended doses that it tells you. It'll cleanse your liver, your energy will return, your sinuses will clear up within a week.
All right, thank you very much, caller. I've got to run. And Dr. Ardis, I appreciate your coming on my program this morning, CEO of ArdisLabs.com, Dr. Bryan Ardis. Bryan, please consent to coming back in the near future. I'll have you back, and we'll ask more questions.
I love it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it very much. I'm running late. I've got to get the weather on quickly, and the weather brought to you by Scarrows Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome. The number to call, 324-7657, or you can go to their website, scarrowsmeats.com. All the delicious meats for every occasion. Please remember the name Scarrows Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome. And right now, here's Gina with the weather.
We're finally out of that air quality alert as the smoke is slowly starting to disappear. Here's what's your weather forecast for today. Going to be nice and clear as far as that air quality is concerned. Sunny skies. We are expecting a high of 83. A little bit of a breeze, not too bad. Tonight the winds could pick up just a little bit. Clear skies with a low of 53. Tomorrow, as we get ready for the weekend, sunny skies and 84 with an overnight low of 54. By Saturday, sunny and 86, 72. For Sunday, maybe 71 for Monday. That's what gets your weather for Zeb at the Range.
Thank you, Gina, and brought to you by Don Scarrow and his excellent staff over at Scarrows Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome. Again, that telephone number to call, 324-7657. At Scarrows Meats, they are changing the way we eat, one delicious bite at a time. Want to also give a great big thank you as we wrap things up for this morning to our Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. These are people that really care about your safe driving. They've got all the tires for your vehicles and all the different tread designs. You're not sure what you need. You're not sure what's going to be best for your style of driving or your vehicle. Stop in, and they've got the answers. Don't forget, they also have highly trained brake technicians for the best in brake service, front-end alignment, shocks and struts, and batteries. And it all goes back to that 7-letter word that I tell you about every day with Les Schwab, and that word is service. They really take care of you. Stop in today and see any one of the 7 locations. James over in Buell, Dan on Pole Line in Twin Falls, Lane in Rupert, Mike in Jerome, Dave on Blue Lakes in Twin Falls, the Twist family in Paul, and Trent on Overland in Burley. Absolutely the best. Serving you, our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. I am going to be running and wrap the program up for today. Thank you again for all your kind well wishes for my wife, Deanne, and I'm going to be finding out much more in just a very few minutes. The way things were are the way things ought to be, and the 4 words that mean the most to me, in God we trust. I'll see you Monday at 8:06, Zeb at the Ranch. Thank you.